Hello drawing. Today I'm going to teach you a little bit about liquid watercolors. So we have these lovely pigments that are really intense. You can find the name of the color on the label. You can't really tell what they are through the jar though, so be sure to read the labels. We have some ancient jars as well, but they also have the same pigment in them. I've already taken my two colors because we're going to work monochromatically today, my black, I guess it's not a color, and my scarlet, and I've added them to my nice clean palette. I have a couple of brushes, a round and a liner, and I have a paper towel and some water. On the other side of my station, you'll notice that I have some watercolor paper. On this paper, we're going to try several things. We're going to mix in our palette to control the intensity of our pigment. So we'll use clean water and slowly increase the amount of water so that our color is less intense as we go. So I'll add quite a bit of red here, maybe 2 scoops. Maybe 3, maybe 2 in the next one, and just 1 in the last one. I'm going to rinse my brush really well, and I'll test that intensity on my watercolor paper. So the best way to get an even coat when we're watercoloring is to dampen our paper first. So I'm going to make a nice little shape, just get it damp, and take my pure hue or my intense pigment first. I'm going to encourage it to flow with that damp space. Okay. Then I'll grab the next one. And rinse my brush, dry it off. Grab the next one. You can see it decreasing in saturation as I've added more water. I can use a dry brush to pick up any excess pigment. And there's probably the lightest I want to go with that. I can add a touch of water and do a little lift if it's too dark. So we've varied the intensity of our pigment, and now we'll create a value scale. So we're going to start again with our pure hue or pure color in the center. And then we'll work our way towards tints like we just did above, and to shades, which is the opposite end of the value scale. Okay, I'll take my color and my black. And each time I want to add a little more black. You can mix in your palette so that you can use it again, or you can mix on your paper to experiment with color mixing. Okay. I'm gonna rinse my brush really well and use those pigments again. And last. All right, so we made a pure hue and tints. We went from our pure hue to black to make shades. The next item of business below that is where I want you to experiment with creating a grayscale. So go ahead and start again with your clean puddles of water. You might have to get clean water at this point. We're going to add a lot of our black, less of our black, rinse, and just a touch of black in the last one. Okay, so pure. And again, you can paint on dry paper and it won't spread. It'll only go where your brush stroke goes. Or you can dampen the surface, and as long as your brush stays on there, the paint will flow just where it's damp. So we've varied intensity, we've worked with tints and shades, and now we've created a gray scale. The second half of our page, I want us to work with complementary tones. So if I have red, that means I'll work with green and blend from green into red to get a nice neutral color and back to the intense red. And then I'll create a one color wash or fade, and then I'll experiment with some wet into wet.